Municipal Chief Executive for Ejura Dumasi in the Ashanti region, Mohammed Salisu Bamba, says 2 suspects arrested in connection with the murder of social media activist Mohammed Ibrahim, also known as Kaka, are not his bodyguards as speculated. The 2, Ibrahim Isaka and Fuseni Al-Hassan, in police custody, are alleged to be the MCE's bodyguards, but he is denying the claim and blames some people he describes as faceless individuals for using the death of for their parochial interests. The late Kaka was killed late last month for reasons unknown, but some have attributed it to his social activism role. Giving his testimony before the 3-member committee, Mohammed Salisu said the late Kaka was a member of the NPP and had no hand in his death.
Relationship with this Anyas person. Why do you think he will turn around to accuse you of certain happenings in Ejura, being your own party member?
As a political leader, most of the time, when things happen in a community or even in a country, we always try to put the blame on political heads. Happenings is on one unfortunate incidents. For example, the president will be somewhere, you see people pointing out fingers on the president. I think it's our politics, the politics that we do.
I want you to reduce it to your level, because you have informed us that Anyas is your party member, and he even has access to your house. Whatever it is, why do you think the man would behave the way you have described him? Why? Because he's your party member. Yes, we all know, as any association, we have good ones and bad ones. But to target you in person and make these accusations at you, why do you think will prompt or cause Anyas to do that?
I actually don't know what Anyas has done. But then, if I wasn't the MCE, or I'm not a political leader in Ejura, I don't think somebody would have pointed finger at me. Especially looking at the circumstance and the time at which we are. I believe that is the main reason why. But if I were not, I'm not the MCE, or I'm not the leader of the party from the period that I mentioned to date, I don't think somebody will point finger at me. Because we have different type of relationship with people. We have friends, we have people that you know because of party work, your party executive and all whatnot. So I believe it's because of the politics of it. That is why people want to link me to it.
These 2 men who were arrested, that it has been alleged they are your bodyguards. How well do you know them?
As I explained earlier on, I know them to be our party members, and they are our polling station executives. That is how I know. That is how I know them.
Apart from that, you don't have any personal relationship with them?
We don't have personal relationship. Our relationship is political relationship.
Do you have a bodyguard?
I'm somebody who mostly...
Do you have a bodyguard?
I have 1 police bodyguard that I work with sometimes.
You have 1 police escort?
Yes.
So personally, apart from that official escort, you don't have any personal bodyguard?
I don't have a personal bodyguard.
So why did they say that these 2 are part of your bodyguards?
That is the politics of it. That's what I was talking about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Honorable, my final word to you. Do you think politics has anything to do with several such crises in Ghana?
Yes.
And in your jurisdiction?
Yes.
Thank you.
That's the MCE there. Well, he was out of Ejura during the disturbances and says that he was asked to stay away due to security concerns during the disturbances that led to the death of 2 and injuries to some 6 people. According to Mohammed Salisu, his presence could have made matters worse.
I left Ejura on Monday morning, 28. around 6 to 7 a.m.
And returned? And
on Tuesday, I returned to Ejura.
In the evening or afternoon?
Actually, I was going to Ejura in the afternoon. Then I had a call that I'm advised not to come to Ejura. So I tried to find out why shouldn't I come. Then that it was for security, for my own security. That is why I'm advised not to come to Ejura. And later on, some elders also sent a message through somebody to call and inform me that this is what is already. I'm abreast with what is happening. I'm in touch with all the security heads, and that this is what is happening on the ground. And for that matter, I should stay away for a while.
Okay, so then I will not press you further to tell us when you arrive back.
Very well.
That's fine. Thank you. Okay, so yes, please continue.
So generally, this is the briefing I had with regards to the issues that happened in Ejura between 26th and 29th. So after the 29th incident, we discussed among ourselves that we should find a way of supporting the security agencies so that they can be on the ground for some time to make sure that things normalize fully before they leave.
Well, Ohimi Interior sat through the committee's hearing at the Prempeh Assembly Hall in Kumasi. Ohimi is joining me. Ohimi, what more came up at the sitting today?
Thank you, Gifty. The issue of the relationship of the municipal chief executive for Ejura Killing with the two suspects became a subject of discussion at the committee sittings with the committee members probing further as to what the MCE know about, especially one of them, Ibrahim Isaka, also known as Enyas. And the committee members, reviewed that somewhere last year, this Ibrahim Enyas is on record to have had issues with security operatives in Ejura. And then at the point when government announced the closure of all markets in the country, Anyas then ordered the opening of the markets in Ejura. And it's something that the MCE admitted that, yes, this information was actually in public space. And it's something that he admitted to the extent that he had to take the intervention of the Ashanti Regional MPP executives to intervene and resolve this issue. The committee probed further as to whether this young gentleman is a friend or probably somebody who is and dine with the MCE, and he responded in the negative that Anyas is not his friend, just that he is somebody who is a polling station executive for the party, as well as Husseini Alasan, the two of them being MPP polling station executives in the.
Hello, Ohimi. Looks like Ohimi froze there on me, but he was giving us an update of what happened, what else happened at the Ejura killing sittings today. As you heard him, the MCE was called to respond to some questions concerning the people who were arrested in connection with Kaka's death. And of course, Kaka's death is what has sparked all of the other deaths and the other agitations that came up as well. Today, he said that he didn't know the Anyas personally, but he knew them to be party members and that they work with them. In fact, he also talks about knowing Kaka himself, who he identifies as an MPP member. Ohimi is back. Ohimi, continue with what you were saying. Unmute for me, Ohimi.
Yes, Gifty, the committee quizzed the MCE on whether he has received any training on crisis management or security management issues, of which he answered in the negative that he has not received anything of a sort. And he also tend to say that in the Ejura area, there are some people he described as faceless individuals who want to use the death of Kaka for their parochial interests. And he says, because of this, the political landscape in that community has been polarized. And so I must say, throughout the discussion, throughout the committee setting, as far as the MCE was concerned, it bordered on events before Kaka's death, after Kaka's death, and then his relationship with the two suspects who were picked up. And if, for instance, he was aware of the security in the military officers who were deployed to that community, on whose instructions were they detailed to the community, and what actually transpired. Well, did he actually receive briefing from the security officers and all that? So these are the issues that came up as far as Mr. Salisu Bamba's appearance before the committee is concerned.
Let me ask this. If you do remember, he was also asked about his role when it comes to the invitation of the military intervention. What did he say?
Yes, Salisu Bamba responded that as far as he is concerned, the Municipal Security Committee had interactions, meetings, and discussions on what could be done. So he forwarded the response or the concerns of the MUSEC to the Mampon Divisional Police Command. And it was upon that, request or recommendations that the military were deployed. And he said he's not the one who specifically, requested for the deployment of the military in Ejura, but that was done by the regional minister, because he was told by the regional minister, Simon Osei-Mensah, that he's the one who requested, ordered the deployment of the military into Ejura. And all these were, they were looking at ways and means to beef up security. And their concern was, the target was to get more police officers on the ground and to support the maintenance of peace, law and order in Ejura. But when the military came, it was something, because he thought that probably they had already had discussion with the divisional commander. Their presence was as a result of that discussion. And when he was asked whether he knew that members of the Operation Calm Life were the ones who were deployed to the community, couldn't differentiate between the Calm Life and the military, all that he could tell the committee was that, yes, he's aware military officers were deployed, but even in that one, he cannot differentiate whether they were Calm Life members or not. And he gave details. For instance, he said, in the first place, when he heard information that the military has arrived in Ejura, whilst he was preparing a place for them to stay overnight, then information got to him that the officers were leaving, only for them to return the following day. So all this information was made available to the committee, and he also explained why he thinks that the military officers shouldn't have, shot at the people. He said that, yes, the best they could have done was to use minimal force. And when the committee sought to find out from him what minimum force could be, he couldn't explain further, but just to say that he wasn't expecting the military, to have shot into the crowd. Though he admits that at a point in time, the residents of Ejura, the angry youth, actually faced the military by pelting them, some to the point of facing them with sticks and all that. So, yes, Mr. Salisu Bamba explained all these before the committee.
Okay, Ohime, who else is expected? We were actually expecting that the commander who led the team on the ground would be there today. Was there a change in the arrangement, or what happened, and who else is expected, by the way?
Yes, today we were told the regional security coordinator for the national security was to appear before the committee, but unfortunately the committee announced that he was not coming because of other engagements somewhere. But the medical superintendent for the Ejura Government Hospital, Dr. Mensa Manye, who attended to both the dead and the injured persons who received gunshot injuries also testified before the committee. His meeting with the committee lasted less than 40 minutes. I must say it was one of the short meetings today that the committee had with participants and then people giving testimony at the committee. So apart from the Ejura MCE, it was the turn of Dr. Mensa Manye, who said he has been practicing as a general practitioner at the Ejura Government Hospital for the past 6 years. That has been his specialty. And then he also talked about how two young men were rushed to the facility, one already dead on arrival, brought in dead, and then another person who also came and spent about 10 minutes at the facility whilst medical practitioners and the staff tried as much as possible to resuscitate him. Unfortunately, they lost him. So he took turns to talk about details of the injuries these victims received, talking about the two gentlemen who died, and then also continued to bombard the committee with medical terminologies. And at the point, when I monitor the room, I could see that the committee members at a point we just asked for a breakdown of those medical terminologies in order for them to absorb what exactly Dr. Mensa Manye was communicating to them. Later, when I spoke to Dr. Manye, he told me, yes, that is the language he speaks. So we expect the committee members to also understand. When it becomes difficult for them to break it down, then he takes the time to break it down. So yes, he talked about the first victim, one Abdul Yusuf, who was rushed to the Ejura Government Hospital with gunshot wounds at the back of his left upper chest, and then is penetrating into the chest. And he said, yes, looking at the injury that this particular gentleman received, he was actually brought in dead. He could pick from the fact that he was shot from the back through the left part of the chest. And then the second person, that's Dr. Mensa Manye. He said the first gentleman is 25 years, Abdul Yusuf. And then the second person that was also brought in, and unfortunately he died whilst efforts were being made by the medical team to resuscitate him in that regard, is somebody, he says, Luis Atika, 19 years. And he also gives some details about the kind of injuries that he received. And all these were gunshot injuries that the people or the victims sustained. And he died at the time that efforts were being made. The medical team tried as much as possible to resuscitate him. And then he talked about the fact that he also had internal bleeding as a result of internal injury he sustained. And then 4 other people were also brought in. And with these 4 people, they managed to, bring their situation under control until 2 of them were referred to Confanoche Teaching Hospital, and where they are now currently doing well. And then 4 other women who apparently, were shocked because they were relatives of the deceased. Upon hearing the news that they've lost their family members, also collapsed, and they were rushed to the hospital. But in that regard, they managed to resuscitate and then bring them back to life. So Dr. Manye took time to explain the injuries and what he make of the injuries that were sustained by the victims in the Ejura clashes.
And of course, I also remember the question about whether or not the bullets he took out of the bodies where he could, whether or not he could tell they came from the military. And of course, the person, Dr. Vladimir Nchudanso himself, answered that he was not a ballistic expert and wouldn't be able to know. Ohimi, thank you very much for these updates. Let's wrap it up for now. And I believe that tomorrow they'll be meeting again. We'll be taking that live as well for our viewers.
Tomorrow, the committee will meet. We are told 3 residents of Ejura will appear before the committee, as well as the regional security coordinator as well. So we are expecting not less than 4 people to testify before the committee tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Ohimi. Ohimi Teria there is a member of the security desk here at JoyNews, joining me all the way from Kumasi.